And we are live. Are we live? I'm hoping this Wi-Fi with the condo works. I'm outside in the back balcony, so you might hear background noise. The leaf blower guy stopped, so we're good there. They were really noisy right when I was going to start the video, and I was like, oh dear. If you're listening, can you comment that you can hear me? I've never tried to go live from the condo here on their Wi-Fi, so I just want to make sure that you can hear me before I dive right in. Can you hear the birds in the background? Isn't it lovely? I have a very lovely view from where I'm sitting. Some palm trees and some other condos with the ocean a couple of steps away. It's absolutely beautiful outside. Allison, I can hear you and see you. I love you, sending you hugs. Okay, that's awesome, somebody's on. Okay, I know you guys are wondering what's going on with her. Why she hasn't updated us. Well, we made it here. We're clearly that happened. The flights my body did incredibly well on the flights. The second flight I felt weak and a little bit nauseous, but tremor-wise it was incredible. It was incredible how my body did. So it was really good. We had really smooth flights. The turbulence landing in Minneapolis, so it wasn't me and my sister's favorite, but it was, the rest of the flights were smooth as cream. It's been a big adjustment living here. It's like I have to reset my mind and like, okay, Kath, you have a different life now. It's been a bit, we aren't done that process yet, let's just put it that way. I haven't started treatments yet. They've just finishing up my testing. And so once the tests are done, which I think they're done tomorrow, then they start treatments and they're gonna put a PICU line in my arm, which is, if you don't know, they slide a needle. Oh god, I hope not. They slide a thin little tube up your vein in your arm so that they don't have to poke you every time they want to give you treatment. They just attach it to this thing you have in your arm so you don't always have to get poked every time. And treatments will be 5 to 6 hours a day, 5 days a week. Yeah. So you guys will have to pray for me. That's a lot. I haven't been that busy or that active in a very long time. So, but I'm looking forward. I hit it off with the doctor and I hit it off with his assistant. And we were talking about God by the time we were done. And the doctor, he said to me, I can clearly see that you are religious. I correct him and tell him that's not exactly what I would call myself. I just said yes. And he said, I assume that you have many people behind you at home. And he kind of trailed off. I think he was going to say, praying for me. And I said, oh yes, you better believe I do. So that was really cool. I don't know how he figured it out that I was religious. But it's good when you're shining Jesus and other people can see it. So they did my initial testing of their own tests that they just have in their own lab, and Lyme's came through as a positive, but he's one of the best Lyme's doctors in the world, so to speak. So I'm at the right place, and I tested positive for all 7 co-infections. I said, I tested positive for all 7? And he said, yes, you did. And I was like, I passed? He said, with flying colors. So we were joking and just laughing around about it. making a good laugh out of a bad situation. So I said, you got enough ammunition to kill all these buggers in my body? He said, you better believe it. He said, I'm going to do everything to feed your faith and starve your doubts. And I'm like, I'm on page with that. So we really hit it off. I will need much grace and strength for my body and my mind. It's been a little bit emotional, to be honest, not knowing when you're going to see your husband and your kids again and be home again and be away from your church family. It's been a little bit weepy, and then there's been laughing, and there's been all kinds. And my sister burst into tears in front of the car rental guy because he charged her way more than what she had anticipated or expected, because they had this certain policy that no other car rental place I know has. And she said, I cried in front of the car rental guy. I don't know why I'm so emotional. My sister hardly ever cries. So we've been a fine pair. But yesterday was her birthday. We went out and celebrated. My body did really well, and I prayed for that because I wanted it to be about her, not about me. We had a great time. And the doctor wants me to go on the keto diet, so I said, we're not going on a keto diet today, it's your birthday. So we went to Frenchie's and had fish. Oh, their fish is so good here. Oh, and it was delicious. And then we went to Crumble Cookie, where they made cookies almost as big as your head, and that was wonderful. So that's kind of my update. They're going to be attacking Lyme's, and they have a billion different ways to do that. And they found the co-infections, and they also found autoimmune issues and gut-related issues that need to be fixed. So we have our work cut out for us. But I keep reminding myself, this is not just a natural person going to a natural doctor getting natural treatments. This is a supernatural thing. So I keep telling myself that, reminding myself of the truth. Because the doctor actually said to me, it's very important what you think of here, and I was so agreed with that. It is super important. So that's my unofficial diagnosis, and then when they send the tests out, I get the results in 5 weeks, and then it's very specific results and stuff. So I don't receive that diagnosis as my fate. I just know what to not come into agreement with and what to target in my prayers. And you guys can target that in your prayers. Someone's asking what kind of t-shirt I'm wearing. It's my lounging t-shirt that I got from my friend Connie. I don't know if I can lift my t-shirt high enough. Release the roar. And it's a lion with a scepter. That's the t-shirt I'm wearing. It's my comfy one. So I wanted to update you guys because I knew you would be wondering. So that's where we're at now. Today I had the day off, which is kind of nice. And tomorrow it's a bunch of lab work. So my sister literally has to pack me I was going to say a suitcase, a lunchbox. And because you're there like all day long. And she'll just go back to the condo, and then she'll do her work because she works for the city of Winkler, so she is working off her laptop. So she does all her meetings and all her emails and stuff at the condo. So yeah. So I think that's all the health updates I wanted to give you. And then I wanted to throw something out at you guys, which is the impossible thing that I had put in my description. The clinic gave us an offer. They said, if we can pay for the first 2 months and all my supplements in those 2 months and all my injections and everything, and the PICU line, I think, everything for the first 2 months, we get a $5,600 discount. But that would be by tomorrow that we would have to do that. So we need $5,600 discount would be awesome. That's Canadian funds. So you're saying what's impossible about that? Well, it's not impossible, first of all, but we would need $30,000 on top of what we already have to get that discount by tomorrow. Do you think God could do it? It would be so awesome to get that discount. So I thought, I'm going to go live and I'm going to just throw it out there and see what God can do. It would be 30,000 Canadian dollars that we would need to get the $5,600 discount, which would be awesome. And I was thinking of a certain verse that came to mind. I love what Marlene Swan just commented. Hi, Marlene. With God, all things are possible. Okay. I was just gonna you're right on the bit, Marlene. I was just gonna read the verse that came to my mind. Here, I'll pull it up. Jesus said to him, "What do you mean if? If you're able to believe, all things are possible to the believer." Mark 9:23. That was when the father came with a son who was seizuring, and the disciples couldn't cure him. I think I'm telling the right story. Forgive me if I'm not. And the father said, "If you're able to help him." And Jesus answered him and said, "What do you mean if?" And then he turned it around and he said, "If you are able to believe, all things are possible to the believer." So I want you to help me, join me in my faith, help me lift this offer as a weight. Let's pretend it's a barbell, and let's put our faith muscles together, and let's just see what God can do, and see if we can get 30,000 Canadian dollars by tomorrow, and get the discount. That would be so cool. It would be a total miracle. It would be a total God thing. But maybe there's someone on here that has been gifted $30,000 from the Lord, and they know it's not for them, and it's to give away. That's happened to me before. Not $30,000, but where I've received something I know I love it, but I know it's not for me. It's for somebody else, and I'm supposed to give it. So nothing is too hard for the Lord, which made me think of Jeremiah 32:27. Listen to this. "I am the Lord, the God of all mankind. Is anything too hard for me? No. Nothing." So I'm hanging on to those two words, standing on those two words, and just putting this offer that they've given us to save $5,600 and see what can happen. You never know. And you know what I realize? If you never step out, God can't do miracles. I'll say it like my good friend Ralph Howe said, God can't steer a parked car. My mom's gonna love this when she watches this. She loves that saying. So God can't steer a parked car is true. So my car is not parked. I'm putting it into drive by posting this video and sharing it with you, and you guys can pray together with me to believe that God can supply this need, because it would just be awesome. It would be such an awesome testimony. It would just be great financially. Marlene says, "Do they have any grace with a timeline?" I'm not sure. I don't think so, but I'm definitely going to ask tomorrow. Unless I don't have to, I wake up to 30,000 in my account and I don't have to ask them. Oh, here's a very important announcement. I have maxed out the amount of e-transfers that I can send from my account, because I sent a lot of e-transfers. So please don't send any e-transfers to c.a.play@hotmail.com. Don't use that address. I'll post it on Facebook yet as a post. Send it. I'll post this. Send it to Catherine PlettMedicalFund@gmail.com. Then I can get a hold of the money. So I'll put that in the comments and I'll post it in a separate post. I'll put it in my stories just so everybody knows. So that's where we're at. I've had to be really vigilant. I fought with myself yesterday because Wendy was working all day and I know she has to work. But I was just sitting here thinking, what am I going to do, because I can't walk very far. If I could walk, then I could do all kinds, or drive, but I can't, so I was just sitting around the condo, and I had to fight with my mind not to just think about my family back at home, not to think about the concerns I have about the treatments, and to be worried about what if I detox really hard and they make my symptoms worse and blah 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 blah. You know how the enemy likes to fill your ears with stuff. So I really had to focus, just like Vanna Valter's last word was so powerful to me. It's time to focus, to see that cloud the size of a man's hand and declare it's about to downpour. And that's what I'm believing for. And I have to keep my mind on that and my eyes fixed on that. So when you guys text me and you say I'm praying for you, that means a lot to me. It means just as much as finances. They're equally important. Or maybe prayer is more important than the finances. They both are important in their own right. So I just wanted to come on and let you guys know where I was at with the testing, what they had said so far, and this impossible offer of saving $5,600 if we get $30,000 by tomorrow. It's possible. You know the one thing God had me saying at home before we left? Every time I thought about the finances, He said He said, say it is finished. So I would say it is finished. And then He'd say every need. He would say, yeah, every need and every desire is paid for. And I would say every need we have and every desire will be paid for. So sometimes you have to speak by faith until your heart can connect and believe. You know what the great thing is? When you're struggling with believing something, like when I say, I am the Lord, the God of all mankind, is anything too hard for me? Jeremiah 32:27, that's a sword. The Word of God is a sword. So you don't have to believe in the sword for it to chop the Satan's head off, or chop the spirit of doubt's head off, or chop the spirit of lack head off. A sword does what a sword does. So if you just speak the Word of God, you let the Word do its work, you can say, talk to the hand, doubt, I'm not listening to you. The sword will do the work. The Word will do the work. God gave me that revelation once. A sword works. Even if you have doubts, a sword works. And I was like, that's so good, God, thank you. That's so good. So I'm loving seeing your comments on here. Maggie is, once my sister leaves, Maggie is the next person that's coming up to here to stay with me, and after that we're not sure yet. I'm telling you guys, this whole thing is walking on water. I've never ever had to stretch my faith like this ever in my life. Everything is being stretched at once. I hope I don't get stretch marks. Oh wow. So me and Maggie want to go live for the month of March, in the Hebrew month, Adar 2, and we hope to go live up on the beach or somewhere nice like that. I don't know how it will work out, or at least outside on the balcony, somewhere nice. So, you taking applications? Yes, Jody, I am taking applications. I sure am. I love that. It's not a horrible job though. You do have to help me get around, so that's the most horrible thing. And sometimes help me get dressed when my muscles aren't working. So if you can survive that, if you can survive beautiful, balmy temperatures with swaying palm trees, powdery white sand beaches, and the smell of flowers in the air, you'll do okay. I just FaceTime with my son Cody. He said, I'm in a very vulnerable mental and emotional state right now." I said, "Why?" He said, "Because it's snowing." Oh, he's so funny, my oldest kid. I was like, "I'm sorry." I started laughing. He's like, "It's not funny, Mom." I'm like, "But the farmers need the moisture." He's like, "Yes, I know." I said, "Well, I'll think of you tonight when we go to Honeymoon Island and watch the sunset." And he's like, "Thanks a lot." I should maybe have said that. I rubbed it in. But we're making the best of this and believing God that this will be a moment in my life that I will never forget, seeing like astounding miracles of God that I've never ever seen before and that I've dreamed and wished of seeing. I have something on there. That's what I'm believing for, a miraculous time here. And like God showed me the other day, that He whispered in my ear when I was posting my devotional, He whispered Luke 8:44, and I thought, okay. I quickly looked it up, and it said in the scripture, "And she reached out and touched the hem of his garment and was instantly healed." I was like, yes, Lord, yes, Lord. So I'm believing that I will respond supernaturally, incredibly, that it will absolutely make the doctors marvel, because He said, "I can tell that you're religious," which I know what He meant. And I want them to see the glory of God on me. I want to be a light that shines bright in that place. And I want to exude the healing power of God and just have dripping off of me, and being able to lay hands on people in the waiting room. They might not like that. I might be killing their business, but that's what I want. I told the doctor my goal is to run down Clearwater Beach. He's like, "That's a good goal." Now I can barely walk through the sand, and then my legs are done. But now my goal is to run. So I think that's a pretty good goal. So I just wanted to touch base with you guys, because I missed you, and I promised you that I would give you an update. So it's so good to see you guys on here. I love seeing the names. I feel like I know you guys. Some of you I have met you by face to face, but I know you because I talked to you and we've prayed together and been on Zooms together and messaged back and forth. And so it's so good to see you on here. Thank you guys for praying for me. And my sister, just pray for me to keep my focus and be strong in the Lord, and my faith to be strong, and to not make the medical diagnosis and the treatments my number one thought. That's secondary. That keep my faith on the promises of God, what He promised me, and how He's leading me, to keep that number one. That I stay in the super and not in the natural. That I see with these eyes and not these. That's the biggest prayer. And then the second would be for finances, and that everything would work out with caregivers coming out until I don't need a caregiver. Anyone can just come for fun and join me. So they said it would take anywhere from 2 to 6 months. I would love to make it 2 months. I mean, it's great here, but I would just love to be fully healed in 2 months and say, "Look what God has done!" Because He said, "You're kind of a severe case, so I don't know if 2 months." He said, "But it could happen." He's really positive, and I'm like, "You bet it could happen." So there you go. I guess I filled you all in. For those of you who are jumping on just last minute, you'll have to go on to the front to listen to my unofficial diagnosis and where I am in treatment wise. And to nutshell, if you're just jumping on, the impossible offer that the clinic gave us is if we can get $30,000 Canadian by tomorrow, then they're gonna discount us 5,600 Canadian dollars, which I thought was awesome. So I thought, well, I'm gonna come on live and I'm just gonna get my Facebook family, my church family, and put our faith muscles together and believe God for a miracle. Like Mark 9:23 says, Jesus said to him, "What do you mean if? If you are able to believe, all things are possible to the believer." So I love that Lori, she just commented, "Impossible, I'm possible." Love it. So there you go, you're all updated as to where things are at. Wendy's out getting supper. She has me on a keto diet or something like that, but so far her keto diet tastes better than my regular diets at home. She's a super good cook. But I told her I'm finishing my cookie as big as a head. You'll have to go back if you're wondering what I'm talking about. I said, I'm finishing that cookie. I don't care about keto diet. That cookie is mine. She said, I won't stop you, but no more strawberries. She caught me in the strawberries. So I'm gonna leave you guys with that. And I'll reiterate this because it's really important. Don't send e-transfers to my email because I have maxed out the amount of e-transfers I can do in a week. I have to wait a whole week, and we have to make payments before then, several of them. So don't send anything to c.ada.platt@hotmail.com. Send it to catherineplattmedicalfund@gmail.com. So I'll put that in the comments, and I'll put up a post, put it in the stories, and let's see what God can do. Isn't it exciting? It's like challenging God, not in a bad way, but it's like, okay, God, it's like, let's see what you can do. It's like David whirling that sling over his shoulder. Let's see what God can do with the stone. And wham, he struck Goliath right between the eyes, and down he went. So we always want those moments, those awesome moments that we read about in the Bible, but when we're in them, we're like, ah. But I refuse to be in doubt and fear. I will believe, and I will only believe, and I will see the glory of God. Amen. I keep talking because I'm used to being on with you guys for an hour at a time, but the next time I'll keep hopping on here and there and keeping you guys updated in the stories. And Maggie and I will be together for the month of March, which is going to be super fun. So I bless you guys. I love you. I thank you. I wish I could personally respond to everybody that has said they prayed for me and or sent me money, because I really wanted to, but I can't because there's so many people that have been encouraging me and sending me stuff. So if you're on here, thank you. And don't be sorry if you sent it to my email account. I only announced it today, so don't be sorry. I've only announced today. It's only starting today that I'm asking for the email address to be changed, so no worries, Shirley. So yeah. So yes, I love you guys. Pray for me. I bless you, and I will see you again in probably a couple of days. Watch for me and my stories. Love you guys. Things can turn on a dime.